Hello and welcome to today's one-on-one shots where I am joined by the amazing, dare I say, resplendent
Oh,
Anna Prosser. Yes, resplendent. Resplendent. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing so good. What is better than playing D&D on a Sunday in the middle of the afternoon?
I feel like we just had a reboot of that scene from Conan, where it's like, what is good in life? Playing D&D on a Sunday afternoon, sipping tea with comfortable socks.
Oh, yes. They are comfortable socks. They say dog mom on them.
It's you're already playing the game at the highest level, right there.
Not
Uh,
to brag, but
it's not bragging when it's true. It's not bragging when it's true. For those of you that have not joined us for one of these before, I'm B. Dave Walters, and I have on a fascinating, interesting person, and we talk a little bit about them, about their life, about their career, and we play some games. And today we will be playing Dungeons and perhaps additionally Dragons. Maybe even I don't know. Even we might get one or the other. We might only have room for one. And who are you playing today? Anna.
I'm playing Agnes Crownsilver, who is at level 20, which makes her an archdruid, which I've never done before. This is going to be really fun. In fact, I've played very few druids at all, so this is going to be fun having just all of the druid toolkit. And she uses Unearthed Arcana. She has the Circle of Wildfire, and the main difference that brings is just that she can summon a fire elemental spirit instead of wild shape if she chooses.
There's one important thing that I didn't say before that I'm just like ambushing you live.
Sure.
We need a name for the fire spirit.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Good call. Let's see. Well, Agnes is already a play on like the Latin for fire or for burning, which is like igni.
Real talk, I knew that, and I didn't know if like that's what you went. And if I was gonna nerd out, it's gonna be like, "Hey, yeah, why you pick your name? Cause I can play on
I'm so
that."
glad. So I'm trying to think of, I don't know. Man, that is on the spot.
Well, we'll let it tumble around in our noodles. Maybe chat will have a suggestion.
Yeah. Let's let chat suggest it.
We'll let chat suggest it. Although it's funny, as I say, we'll let chat suggest it. Then I realize I usually don't look at chat while we're doing this. So maybe our QueueTimes production overlords, thanks QueueTimes, can pull a name if there seems to be a winner there. Also, if you guys have a question for either of us, type it in chat with a capital question, and we will ask it. Probably a little bit later on, though. And yeah, it's part of the reason why I like doing this, especially when we do level 20 games, because level 20 you can have basically anything. Is asking people why they chose that. So why Circle of Fire Druid? Like what made that jump out to you?
I like to play, even when I play video games, I like to play a tank, but like a damage dealing tank. But I wanted to try Druid. So I knew that I wanted to have like a wild shape so I could tank a lot of damage potentially. But I also really like having utility. And so my first thought was like, how can I get Fireball? And so, and also I wanted her, I think one of my biggest character inspirations was I was thinking about the new Horizon Forbidden West game. I'm a big Horizon Zero Dawn fan, and Aloy is a favorite character of mine. So I wanted her to be this kind of wild, redheaded nature person. And so that lent itself to looking for fire.
Also, I would just like to say, how can I get Fireball? It's not just a good character strategy, it's a good life strategy.
Right.
I ask myself that question quite often. It's like when you gotta go to the mountaintop and like meditate. You're like, how can I get Fireball?
So far, I have been unsuccessful, but I feel like someday it might happen.
There's still time. Like it's that maybe. Hear me out. Maybe we're actually playing by like old second edition rules where you've just yet to scribe the spell. Like you've got the power to do it now.
Right.
That makes sense. Learned it yet.
Right. Someday I'll find a scroll that will teach me.
Which, if one day I turn on the news and there's like weird anomalous fires in Portland, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, hey.
It was me, preemptively. Yeah.
Just stop confessing to crimes on the internet. It's not a
Sorry.
crime yet, though. Somebody fireballed that house. It could have been anybody, really,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so let me ask, how did you get into playing D&D? Like, how long have you been at it? Was this give us your origin story?
I actually got into D&D through streaming. So I'm kind of the reverse story of a lot of people. I I actually like I think the first show that I was aware of was actually one of the ones on Roleplay from It Me JP. And it just looked so much fun because my background is in my education's in speech communication and a lot of presenting and speech making, but my interests are in performing music, acting, improv, those kinds of things. So getting to mix a career that I already had in gaming with those passions and mix those with streaming was really exciting for me. So I wanted to try it as something like a creative outlet, and enjoyed that so much that I just kind of never stopped. And I actually played D&D without ever having rolled a physical die for like 2 years. I just used digital tools that whole time.
That is actually incredible. How well if you came to D&D through streaming, then how did you arrive at streaming then?
Oh, well, so my background career-wise as of the last decade or so is in eSports. So I worked for Team Evil Geniuses, which was a pro StarCraft team at that point. It expanded to many other things. But I helped manage the first North American training facility house with all of these StarCraft players. And back then, it was actually Justin TV that was interested in putting a lot of esports events out there with live streaming. And that was kind of the first time that it became really accessible to do that. And so a lot of the players and myself all streamed on Justin TV, which became Twitch. And so that was a part of my job, especially as I kind of became one of the creative media leaders at the company. In terms of my job was to think about how we can make content that makes people interested in the players.
Do you ever run into people that are like, oh, this girl's just a poser, they just have her on because it's because she's pretty or whatever, and you're like, bitch, I was there 10 years ago. You're like, I was there from the beginning. Like this.
That's such a timely question because I've been thinking about that so much with everything that's been going on in our industry right now. A lot of the people speaking out against harassment and prejudice and things like that. It was a brief pleasant moment to realize that I've gotten that so much less in the last few years, because I did especially in esports, it was like, oh, you only work for this team because you were a model before, and they will put you on camera because, like you said, because you're considered pretty, or you only are interested in StarCraft because there are so few girls that it will get you attention, or those kinds of things. I don't think I came up against. Well, with D&D, it was a little less targeted in that it wasn't like, oh, you don't deserve to be here. It was more like, oh, you're a unicorn. Like when people would tune into my streams, it would be like, what, a girl playing D&D? Wow, all the boys must love you. Or like, those kinds of like, I expect you to accept that you are an other.
Right.
And people don't realize that although that's meant usually as a compliment, it's actually very isolating because it makes you feel like I'm the only one like me here, and maybe that means that I am doing something wrong, So I think with D&D and streaming, that was more what I got. But now, I'm thankful that I don't experience that as much, at least within the streaming community. I think it still exists a little bit outside of the hardcore D&D community, if you will. But I experience it a lot less now in my day-to-day.
Yeah, that makes sense, because now you are still participating in all these different communities, right? I mean, you're still doing hosting, you're still in a fixture in the esports world in addition to D&D as well.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I worked for Twitch for the last 5 years. So I guess that's the more obvious answer of like how I came to streaming, is I was always with Twitch in one way or the other. But I just left Twitch in March, which was hilarious timing because that's right when we got the stay-at-home orders and all the events that I was working got canceled. But So now I'm in this world of looking at being a content creator full time. So that's really exciting.
It is wild, and especially for you to have been there the whole time. I tell people, and I guess anybody that was paying attention saw it, but you know, 5 years ago on the short end, 10 years ago on the high end, it's like no one could have seen this was going to happen. Like people
Right.
ask me all the time, like, "Oh, did you know that you'd be a professional D&D
Yeah.
player?" It's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And I am
not.
thankful. I'm thankful to esports for showing me that possibility, because I had that conversation so many times with people like, you can't play video games for a living. And then now most people know that you can. So
Yep.
with the D&D thing, I was like, I think this is probably true about D&D too. And so it gave me that little spark of hope to hold on to, that this could be something not only that I did for fun, but that I engaged with the community about and potentially helped build something bigger from.
Let me ask you this. I think, especially because you've having existed in these different worlds, it seems to me that esports scratches a similar itch to watching something like NASCAR or watching something like chess or watching something like poker, whereas tabletop is almost more like watching something like theater or improv comedy.
Mm-hmm. I would say
You know,
that's totally true.
yeah. Scratching different but related itches, I guess, in terms of like watching someone else play a game. Yes.
Yeah. I actually compare it often to soap operas, because I didn't expect this, but I have a really close friend back home who I grew up with, but she's a stay-at-home mom, has 3 kids, and she's one of the biggest fans of most of my D&D shows. And she's the one who's like consistently up to date with everything that's happening in my shows. And it's because it's something that she can turn on and engage with and like listen to while she takes care of kids and it's like her special, her stories, So
Mom watch it,
yeah, exactly. So I kind of think of it that way too, where it's like something that you can get really deeply emotionally involved in for fun.
Our show, Vampire the Masquerade LA by Night, is shameless plug there. Well, you know it's real when you get the full name,
Yeah, right.
It's 100% as a soap opera. I mean, that's what we're doing there. I mean,
Yep.
we roll dice on occasion, but there's many times we made it through entire episodes without anyone touching any dice.
Right.
Because that's, especially in that genre of a storytelling game of personal horror. The pathos of it is such a bigger component. Obviously, you can have that in D&D. Dare I say, you should have that in D&D. But in terms of what the experience the games are crafted to deliver, is different.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it's I made this comment last night on a podcast I was on, and I've said it before, that if I were to wake up tomorrow and it's 4 years ago, like it's January 1, 2016,
Yeah.
and none of these things had happened, both the personal and professional experiences and just the insanity of motions broadly and everything. If none of this had happened,
yeah,
I'd have been like, yeah, okay, like
yeah,
it's all, yeah, this all seems legit. None of this was real. None of this was real. But now, as you are looking to go into like full-time content creation and things of that nature, is what kind of stuff do you anticipate doing? Like, obviously you can exist in many worlds, you do right now, but what do you think you would like to be doing?
Honestly, I think the intention was for me to take the rest of this year and sit back and answer that question, because it's been so long that I've been making content for other people, strategically responding to needs of companies or other individuals and making content for them, that I think part of the reason that I stepped away from Twitch as a staff member was trying to be like, all right, I did all these things to build what I have, and now what direction do I go next? Because I think like I said, my passions, what I really enjoy is performing. Music is something that's been really important to me my whole life, but I've kind of had to put to the side for many years now. Similarly, writing for me as well. So I I hesitate to be like, I'm going to do all these things, because you can't look at a year and be like, I'm going to host events, and I'm going to play D&D professionally, and I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to put out an album. Like, you can't do all those things at once. So I'm trying to take the time to really just listen to myself and to kind of my community in the world right now, and see what the best response is to those things. So there's a long-winded way of saying I'm not sure, but the circumstances demand that I continue working in the ways that I am already. So I'm going to continue hosting. I'm going to continue playing D&D professionally, and then hopefully have a little bit of room to do some new projects. And you've seen like glimmers of them. I've done a couple. Recorded a couple songs that have been released. I did some duets with Nate Wants to Battle, and I've been doing a lot more writing and things. So I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like, if you ask your friend what they're going to do with the rest of the year and they're not sure, and they just start babbling about all the ideas they have, that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, but I mean, but that's valid though. I for me, and you do not have to answer this question because I've already put you on the spot for one thing. But this is the question I ask myself, and I pose to others when they're sorting through all the possibilities: is what do you not want? Like when you look around and you see like, well, okay, this is my life right now. It's like, it's like, well, I don't want to live here, or I don't want to work for another jerk, or I don't want a long commute, or you know what I mean? It's like, as you start like striking the negatives off the list, then it helps bring some of the other things into sharp focus. Also, that's a very easy way to decide what you want to eat for dinner. And people of the internet. It's my gift to you. Whenever you're like, what do you want? I don't know. And then it's like, because you ever had that conversation where you're like, what do you want? I don't know. Well, let's get pizza. Oh, I don't want pizza. Let's get burgers. I don't want burgers. Well, then what do you want? I don't know. You're like, let's just start eliminating options.
Right.
And then, Now, I have to ask, what kind of music? Is it like freestyle battle rap? Do you have bars? Can I be your hype man? That's really what I'm getting at, is can I be your hype man?
Well, you already gave me like a really, really good hook for my first rap. So who knows? Maybe. See, that's what this year is meant to do, is I can experiment with these things. Maybe it's an undiscovered talent. I have not done much battle rap, no. But I really like musical theater. My voice lends itself really easily to jazz and often country. I don't think that those are like necessarily the areas that I'm like, I want to pursue those things. But I think in my perfect world, if I was like going to put together an album right now, my album would be a modern pop take on folk, like choral jazz themes. So like any of those pop songs you hear that have like a choir that swells into like the chorus, or maybe it starts out with piano and ends up with like some really like you think it's going to be simple, but it ends up with these really cool syncopated rhythms. Those are the things that are kind of in my head. So yeah, I think I like the singer-songwriter with punch.
It's 100% you should do this. I just want you to know, again, I deeply support you in this. I'm sure the people of the internet support you in this. Well, it's the internet. They'll be haters, but we don't care about them. The people that count on the internet support you in this. No, that's a dope idea. Now, you mentioned back home. Also, I just wanted to point out that you are in fact an epic level theater geek. So
I love theater.
Maybe to my previous point, you've got the necessary levels in Bard. You just have yet to find a scroll of Fireball.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think D&D has been scratching that itch for me, where, I've gotten to be on stage at PAXs and things and perform live improv, and even sometimes sing in D&D, because you can do all those things. So that has been, like you said, it's been giving me the stage that I need to experiment with those things. So hopefully that will continue to flourish.
Yeah, it did something similar for me too, in allowing me to tell my stories.
Mm.
I'm a writer traditionally by trade, and now I've gotten to the point that I've gotten to write some screenplays and have some things produced and do some gaming stuff. But for a long time, D&D was my creative outlet. Even the comic book I wrote, Dungeons and Dragons, A Darkened Wish. Again, it's real when I drop the full name. Available now, kids. That began as World of Warcraft fan fiction.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like 2009 is where almost all those characters were born. And then I was sort of able to take them and adjust them and put them into this world, and they exist in the book and in the stream I DM now. And I think that's one of the best things about it is this does give us a platform to experiment with like whatever weird quirky thing we want to do, and I acknowledge you for two things. I acknowledge you for several things, but in this particular context, two things in particular. I appreciate the fact that you had the awareness of here's the things I like, but I also know what my voice lends itself to. Here's the things I want to do. Let's see what the audience wants to hear.
Right.
Because you do need to balance those things out.
Yeah.
Like I knew some people that wanted to do this like avant-garde black and white French minimalist D&D stream, and I'm like, did you ever stop to ask if anyone wanted to watch that?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I've been a producer for so long that it's hard for me to even turn that awareness off, I think.
Yeah.
Of like, sometimes you just want to make something for the sake of making something. And for me, I have to check myself because I'm usually like, okay, well, what audience are we targeting? And what will this yield? Like, what results will it yield? And it's like, sometimes that doesn't matter,
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of that just comes down to, the time and the budget. It's like if you can afford for this to flop completely, you'll be proud that you did it.
Right.
Yeah. Have totally. At it, Yeah, have at it. Now, you mentioned also from back home. Where is back home?
Well, I'm in Seattle now, so that's my home at the moment, but my hometown is Portland, Oregon. So my whole family's there, and a lot of my heart is there.
You again, epic level Pacific Northwesterner,
where it's not
like, no.
Work kind of took me to Arizona and then San Francisco and back and forth to LA quite a bit. And I kind of realized, like you were saying, what don't I want? I realized I don't want to move any farther from the Pacific Northwest. So every time I moved after that, it was like, is it closer to the Pacific Northwest? If so, okay.
First of all, how dare you? Los Angeles is the center of the known universe.
I love LA, but I like to go there and then go somewhere else.
And then be not home. Here. Like go somewhere with like trees. No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
My challenge is like I don't like the cold. I'm such a like I have vulnerability to cold in my stat block.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, it's definitely, I don't think that I could live in Seattle if I didn't grow up in Portland, because there is like an oppressive gray wetness that happens most of the year. Yeah. And even more so in Seattle than in Portland. But I think if you've grown up with it, you have this like knowledge that it will end and summer will happen and summer will be pretty. So I totally empathize with like, it's hard to live in the Pacific Northwest.
It's you all get this like Vulcan stoicism of like the gray times were past, child. The sun will return again.
Dude, there was a newspaper article at the beginning of this last winter in Seattle. There was a front page and it was like, the big dark is coming. And all of us were like, oh yeah, the big dark. And it was just talking about how like it's gonna start being gray and it's not gonna stop for 9 months. Are you ready?
That's super metal though. You know what I mean? Where you're like, the big dark is coming. You're all like, rally, like prepare yourselves. Man the ramparts. You know? It's funny because I have friends in Portland and they all always say the same thing. They're like, it is the best city in the world except for the weather. And I'm like, yeah, but the weather's a big part though. The weather's a big part.
The trade-off is it makes spring and summer like heavenly. The summertime in both of those places is green and lush and warm and mild and it's amazing. So
I got a buddy of mine named Eddie Freeman. Shout out Eddie, in case you're watching. he is in Portland and he goes cycling. He's been kind of cycling during the pandemic to keep his sanity. And he posts pictures of like landscapes he takes. No, it doesn't look real. It is like like you're in a Miyazaki movie. So yeah. Although I do have to ask one question. I would be remiss if I didn't. So you were Miss Oregon, right? And I kind of know the answer to this now, based on some other things that you were saying. I was going to ask if any of the other women that were competing, if like D&D was a part of their lives, but it wasn't a part of your life yet. So let me ask you this. Did you encounter, were any of them into like gaming and stuff like that? Were you ever like nerding out about StarCraft behind the scenes, getting ready to go out and compete? Or
there were, that was, there weren't too many that were super into video games, but when I did find someone who was, and they learned that was, because even at that time, I think I was just starting to work for Evil Geniuses, so that was starting to become my career and was a huge part of my life. So when I did find women that were into video games, it was a really great thing to bond over. And one of the cool things about doing pageants, there are many really cool things and many not cool things about doing a pageant, but one of the really cool things is meeting and having a connection with women all over the country who are super driven and compelling and compassionate. And so there was a Miss Utah from a couple years behind me. And when people were like, oh, you like StarCraft? Miss Utah from 2 years ago plays StarCraft. And so it gave us something to meet about and know each other about. So it wasn't something that was super common, but it was something that was a positive impact on me.
No, that makes sense. Although in my mind, in my head canon right then, like you rolled in and you're like, hey, I'm Zerg. And she's like, Protoss.
I think it was actually. I think I feel really happy that you knew I was Zerg, like deep in your heart. I feel like you saw that in me. I appreciate that.
I've been paying attention during all of this. Yeah.
Thank you.
I myself I'm a Protoss man myself.
And that's all right. We can't all be the best race. So.
It's Zerg Rush was cheap. Okay,
I know, it was. Yeah, the truth is, the only reason I played Zerg is because it made sense to me, and the other ones didn't. So,
it was funny, and this is true. Like I used to play the original StarCraft. I was a help desk supervisor, right? And the first StarCraft, you could alt tab out of it, and the game would pause. Right. So I would be taking help desk calls, like talking people through fixing their computer and then like playing the game. And then
that is some amazing multitasking.
And then just like alt tab out and like enter like case notes and come back in. But like even now, and all my friends hear me say this all the time, and I think they don't even know where I'm talking about. Like if something happens, like you like knock over a drink or bump into somebody, I'm like, we are under attack. And it's the Protoss. In my head. That's what I hear every time.
Yes. You were definitely better than me at StarCraft if you could do all of those things at once. I was not very good. I understood the game. I could talk about the game. Couldn't play the game.
But that's a useful place though. Yeah. Like the world needs analysts. And don't get me wrong, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that I would just get worked by like a 10-year-old now. But at the time my skills were not insignificant. Now I watched like the cinematics. In fact, I had a chance to meet some people over at Blizzard. A guy named Mickey Nielsen, who was their head of creatives, became a friend of mine. And we would just nerd out over the old StarCraft cinematics. I just like, thank God for cold fusion. Yeah. And he's like, I wrote that scene.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. What I think in those games were like Warcraft, StarCraft, like Blizzard especially, were the first ones to really try and bridge that gap between game and cinema. Of having it be like an immersive cinematic experience, and especially even just small things like StarCraft having the 3 sides, but you had to play as each side.
Yeah.
And you gain their perspective. Like you spent all this time killing Zerg, and then there was the mission in the where you had to go. You were Kerrigan, right, when she turned, and you had to go save the Zerg. You had to save the little Zerglings.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, these sweet babies that I have killed thousands of. you know. But now, no, please,
Hmm.
hearken unto me, my bug child.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
That taught me how to play a villain and enjoy it, because I was always like, I play the good guys. I'm a good guy, la la la. But then Kerrigan and her little Zerg babies, it was like, yes, I am the mother. Come unto me.
That's true. I don't know if you've done this. I think you could do an astonishing Kerrigan cosplay. Like maybe you have. I could be really late to the party here. Either
Kerrigan
Ghost.
cosplay is so hard. Oh my gosh. I did a body paint once, and there's like 2 pictures. Most of them got lost on a hard drive that got lost, but there's like 2 pictures out there of my face with like a 3D printed Kerrigan wig. That's the original Brood War box art. That's in fact, I think that's still one of my Twitch emotes. Actually, is the only place where that lives on.
I was about to say, I'm like, what's that I hear? The sound of the internet being scoured for your Kerrigan cosplay pictures. Yeah, full brood mother. Yeah, that would take some commitment, you know. But I mean, even Ghost Kerrigan, you know, our old homie, you know, back when she was just a simple a simple soldier. Yeah. It's but it's all of this stuff though. I think it all speaks to the ability to get into and lost in these worlds. That's why I love it. That's why I keep doing it. It's the opportunity to get in there and live the adventure. Like we were, I was talking yesterday. I did an interview with Luke Gygax, and those of you that have been with me in these previous shows, I ramble about this extensively because I put a lot of thought into why we do this and why people play. Similar to what you were saying about producing and trying to figure, you know, what's going to resonate and why. And it is that it is the opportunity to live it, you know, the opportunity that you are the hero or the villain, that you're telling your story, you know, is an amazing thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why I have felt so deeply connected to D&D, because I've learned so much from it. From putting myself in another character's shoes and having to think through the decisions they would make and why they would make those decisions. I think it taught me a lot of empathy. It taught me some things that I would never have learned in my own experiences. And I think that's really interesting too when you think about D&D as a production as well, where you're like, some games of D&D are for me and my friends and for me to learn. Some games of D&D are for me to tell a story for other people to connect with. What does it mean to make certain choices in those 2 realms? And I think as a media geek, that's one of the most interesting things to think and talk about and analyze in terms of the popularity of D&D for streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I just like the record to show Jake from QueueTimes, our head production overlord, already sent me the picture of you as Kerrigan. And I'm saying 2 things. Props to Jake. Second, props to you. I thoroughly approve of this. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, with that being said, because we will nerd out extensively about this, I can talk indefinitely about these things. Why don't we play a little bit of the dungeons and additionally perhaps the dragons?
I'm nervous. I've never done a one-on-one campaign before.
It's gonna be fine. It's I'm like, also rocks fall, everybody dies, and by everybody
whoops,
now it's awkward. You by the way, we did ask the internet for a name, and they have delivered. The internet hath blessed us. I'm not sure who came up with this, but I deeply support it.
What is it?
Its name, Blaze, Blise. Blaze the Fire Spirit.
That's so cute. Oh my god,
is incredible. And I pride myself on names. I put a lot of thought into my characters' names, and just like what you did with Agnes, usually they're a play on something or a word in a different language or something. So just brava for Blaze the Fire Spirit.
Instantly, there's so much good like lore for that too. Like she named it that because it's an old family name, and everyone's like, "Oh, Blaze like fire," and she's like, "No, excuse me, Blaze." Like my great aunt Blaze.
You know what? Now great aunt Blaze is there. Like, you know what? We're already in it here. So I'm like, allow me to set the scene, because apparently the story is telling itself. What is Agnes's full name? She's Agnes Crown Silver,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Agnes Crown Silver, Archdruid of the Circle of Fire. Many years have you watched over this sacred mountain range where you make your home. You have protected it against the elements, against storms and blizzards and blights. You have protected it from enemies, foreign conquerors coming in from foreign lands to take over, and from foul enemies that have dug up from the depths below. And now you find yourself on what seems to be an uneventful, peaceful day, standing on a rocky outcropping, looking out over the trees that you have dedicated your life to protecting. What does Agnes look like?
Mm. She has clothing that, although it's utilitarian and functional, it definitely speaks to kind of a at least fashionable, if not noble, past. She has very wild red hair that um, also has like it fades to a light blonde, which kind of looks flame-like, which is totally just a coincidence. You know. And then she has, the typical druid accoutrement, like she found this leaf somewhere and it's now gilded in gold and tucked in her hair, and she has a branch that looks kind of like a headdress or something like that, those kinds of things that you would normally expect from an archdruid. And she carries herself very shrewdly, like not necessarily proud, but very observant, very quick to notice everything, not twitchy, but looks like her eyes are kind of just boring into the forest.
Excellent. As you are looking out, watching a bird wheeling far overhead, cawing and complaining about nothing in particular, you feel a familiar puff of heat emanate from behind you that feels pleasant on your skin against the chilly wind on this, we'll call it very early, very early spring day. And you see an old friend of yours, Blaze, manifesting behind you. What does she look like?
Well, at first glance, you think that it might just be one of those spots in your eye, because fire shouldn't just be floating in the air, but it is. And it looks like a typical flame, but almost prismatic. And it keeps kind of shifting different colors. And that's how you know it's magical. It's not just something on fire. And she kind of looks vaguely humanoid, but definitely not like a human. Definitely more like something that you would envision might be some sort of fairy spirit from the woods.
And she stands there behind you and she says, Agnes, another lovely day, yes?
Isn't it beautiful? I'm sure nothing bad will happen to us at all today.
I hate it when you say that, Agnes. That's the first way that everything goes terribly.
Isn't it just always?
I don't understand why you like it so much here. We could very easily just go and make our home on the plane of fire where everything's perfect.
I've explained this to you before, Blaze. We use fire to protect nature. We are not only fire. We are growth and new life, and also fire and desolation. It's balance.
But every tree I burn down makes room for 2 new saplings. Am I not helping, Agnes?
Yes, absolutely. But the plane of fire doesn't need more fire. The forest here needs our scorching care.
So, wait, hear me out then. If we burn it all down, then it's just like the plane of fire where it won't need any more fire.
Oh, Blaze, you're such a joker. Such a joker.
And she sort of like idly kicks the ground a little bit, and there's a slight hiss in the dirt. And she's like, well, you are always right. You are the wise one, I know. I can't believe that we made it through another winter, though. At one point, I had icicles on me.
How did that happen?
Well, hopefully it won't happen again this time, and we'll have months and months and months of just wonderful warm weather and oh no.
Oh no.
Give me a perception check.
Oh, I hadn't taken out my dice yet.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie move.
That's how you know it. That's how you know it's real.
Yeah.
When the dice get involved.
Perception on Agnes is plus 10. Okay, 24.
Mm-hmm. When she says, oh no, you turn and you can see again, you're sort of just standing on a rocky outcropping there over the woods. You see near the edge of the forest, a large number of the creatures are come running out. There's a couple of deer come running out, a couple of raccoons. You see birds taking off into the air, just sort of scattering in all directions.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they're running from something.
Mm-hmm. Fleeing the forest.
Are any of them coming near enough to me, within like 10 meters of me?
You see a particularly pot-bellied little raccoon that is just hightailing it.
He's just trundling along.
Mm-hmm, is heading your direction. Mm-hmm.
I'll cast Speak with Animals
Mm-hmm.
and say, friend, what are you fleeing?
Agnes. Oh, well, my glad to see you. It was something terrible, Agnes.
Oh, well, sounds like something I should help with, but it would help if I knew what the terrible thing was.
He comes running and just nonstop, just barrels right into your leg and begins climbing you like a tree, like his little raccoon hand sort of like digging into the leathers of your outfit until he gets up right in your face. And Blaze is like, would you like me to singe him for you? Look, he's touching you. Come on, Agnes. Let me just...
No. She gives him a pat, kind of a reassuring, like, it's okay there, buddy.
Oh my God. He very much does just like bury his head in your shoulder. He's like, I'll collect myself. I'm sorry. I was in the woods looking for some nice pine cones, as is my way. It's a pine cone season, spring approaching. And there was this darkness descended over the place, and I looked down, and all of the plants began to die. It just swept out across the forest floor, some type of cruel blight. And I saw a bunny. I saw Harper, the bunny. You know Harper, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, right. Harper.
Well, Harper is dead. He was there, and he hopped wrong, and the darkness took him, and I watched life just come out of him. He was like... and dropped dead. And then I ran, and everyone ran. Well, the birds didn't run. They flew, but we all got out of there. Pronto.
There's no time to waste. She digs in her pocket. Maybe she has a pine cone she stashed away just for this purpose. She gives it to him. She's like, don't worry. I'm on the case. And she hands him the pine cone and like sets him down gently.
Oh, bless you, Agnes. Bless you. And Blaze takes off. Blaze looks at him. She's like, you sure I can't just a little?
No,
just a little.
I said no, Blaze. We have things to do.
And she comes after you. Are you heading towards that part of the forest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just running head on toward it. I'm an archmage. I'm not afraid of that.
That is, literally, you are one of the toughest things around now.
Archdruid, not mage.
It's past a certain point.
Arch something.
Yeah, you're an arch person casting thing. That's a new class. We'll put it on the DM's Guild.
Yes, arch person.
Arch person.
You just worked really hard at becoming a person. You leveled up so hard that you're just an arch person now.
So going back, Act 1 callback. Maybe that's your class. And yet you've just not found a scroll to fireball yet, even though you're an arch person. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
can
makes
you can
sense.
you can add that to the previous title that we gave you there. Arch
Okay,
person, the things you've done.
great.
Uh, as you come down into the forest, give me another perception check.
That was a natural one.
You have successfully rolled a disbelieve, which, by the way, I would say I only play with one house rule, and that is a 1 always fails and a 20 always succeeds, even on skill checks and things. So you won't see anything when you
Nope.
get in there. You're like, this all seems legit. The forest seems fine. Like, I don't know. What was that raccoon even on about?
Looks normal to me.
No, this all seems legit. Like, it is as legit as you can imagine. Let me look something up here. How to kill an archdruid in a single round. Oh,
Right.
no. Whoops.
No. As expected.
Oh, sorry, I was talking while I was typing. I was thinking aloud. You creep through the forest and the dried and dead vegetation crunching under your feet. But again, you're like, winter just broke. Like, sure, things are dead. This all seems fine. It all seems fine.
That raccoon always exaggerating.
It's as they are wont to do, Like, it might have just been a long con to get one of your pine cones.
I should have saved that one for later.
Give me a Constitution save.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Another natural one. You're getting to see my typical rolls. It's really good.
I'm glad we're getting them out of the way early, though. We're getting them out of the way early.
We'll see. Either getting them out of the way or setting the tone. You never know.
Either way. Like, I realized, at one point we were discussing if we were going to play Vampire or D&D today. Apparently, it is still a storytelling game of personal horror. Is about is what the you are walking and you're like, I don't know, this just all seems legit, and you feel a cruelly cold hand reach out and touch you, and you feel a wave of just ice and misery sweep through your whole entire body, paralyzing you. And you can't move.
I can't move at all.
Literally paralyzed. Technically, you can speak haltingly, but, it's, for my purposes, you can speak haltingly, even though really you're not even supposed to be able to move even your mouth.
Well, I think I can communicate with Blaze telepathically, right?
I think you can. At least you can now. And you hear a faint Agnes, I didn't think it would be so easy to snare you. And in front of you, you see what looks like a fairy of some sort. It looks like what you would think a pixie would be, but it is full size with 6 shimmering gossamer wings, and it is wearing orange and yellowish tattered robes and a crooked wooden hat, but it's got pale bluish decrepit skin. And through the wonder of technology, I can actually send you a picture of exactly what it looks like, as it just sort of floats and hovers above the ground in front of you. And it's like, you don't even remember me, do you, Agnes? And what would you like to say or have Blaze do? Because she is very much free, even though you're like, ugh.
I'm just not even going to try to respond. I'm just going to glare at her and command Blaze to do Flame Seed.
All right.
Which is a ranged weapon attack with fire damage.
All right. I will let you roll for Blaze.
Oh, at least Blaze can roll. Okay, that's a 20 to hit.
All right. She looks at you when you just stop walking, and she's like, oh, I wanted to do this to that raccoon. And the flames erupt from her hands. And you do see they slam into this thing and hiss loudly as it flares up a little bit. And it just says, I shall have to deal with the spirits separately. How much damage did she do with her flame seed?
Very little, as I realized after I did that. 8 fire damage.
Hey, it all counts. The only hit point that matters is the last one.
True.
Yeah. I'm just busting out the old calculator here. It's amazing how a failed perception check and a failed save against paralysis can complicate things, right?
Right. Can I also take an action?
You are paralyzed. I will, however, she is going to do one other thing, and then you will get another save. That's the joy of this. You get a save at the end of each round, but with only 2 of you, that's pretty fast.
And I guess that even, because I was thinking maybe if I had a spell that was verbal and somatic, I could cast it, but I probably couldn't in this case, right?
Probably not. Let me read exact paralysis. You are incapacitated, which means you cannot move or no, you can't take actions or reactions. Yeah, paralysis is also incapacitated. Like you are stuck.
I'm just gonna stand here and glare then.
Yeah, but you look cool though. You're all like, yeah, while stuck in place. And she looks at you and says, this is going to make the Lord very happy indeed. And touches you, and you feel another wave of cold wash through you and a flash of light. And you are no longer in the forest. You are in a cold, dark place with black stone walls that are damp and dark and growing with a strange kind of greenish black mold. And that creature is nowhere to be seen. I will say that you shake off the paralysis after a few moments, because basically, eventually, statistically speaking, somewhere in the next minute, you would make the save. So, after a couple of seconds, you sort of regain yourself. And Blaze is not there.
Can I try to summon her back?
When you sort of extend your will and a second later she appears, oh, Agnes, oh, and she like runs forward and like hugs you with like her flame singeing you slightly.
Careful.
Oh no, so I was just so worried. I didn't know where that thing had taken you.
Where do you have any idea where we are now?
Not in the forest.
Thanks. That's good intel. I appreciate that contribution. All right. And she starts looking around, trying to investigate and see if she can garner any information about her surroundings at all.
You can give me an investigation check.
Investigation 16.
As you were looking around in this room, there are, again, is the aforementioned black stone. There does appear to be a couple of doors leading out of here. The thing that sticks out at you most is you see an old parchment. It was a notification that was posted on a message board somewhere about Agnes Crown Silver saves, and then it has been ripped, torn in half. Where it's like an old, basically, notice to the people of some heroic act you'd perform, but it has been ripped in half, and only the top of it remains.
Rude.
Haters.
I know. I'm going to cast mending on the paper.
I would just like to say this is the level of pettiness that I aspire to, by the way. As you mend the paper, it is a notice of about, maybe 10 winters ago. of where a strange blight had come upon the land. There was a weird cult of necromancers that you went in and dispersed. This was back in some of your younger days. But you and Blaze had gotten it done. You really haven't thought about it since, to tell you the truth.
I fix it and I kind of like brush it off, and then continue.
Yeah, Blaze is like, oh, I remember that. That one was fun.
It was, wasn't it? This necromancer's really sizzled.
I love it when you let me go weapons hot. And she like glows slightly brighter when you say that. And she says, but which way do you want to go? There's a door on the left and a door on the right.
What do we always say, Blaze? Good adventurers go left. Go left.
I learned it from you. And when you go along and open the door, there is a hallway that goes out. But in this place, even though the stone is old and black on the side, you realize there are patches overhead where roots have grown down through here. The roots of some strange plant that just dangle like long spindly fingers.
Ooh. Well, in that case, I'm going to cast Speak with Plants and speak to the tree above me and ask, Great towering tree, what wisdom can you share? I find myself beneath you. Where are we?
Oh, Roy, you're talking to me.
Yes, hello, I'm Agnes Crownsilver, Archdruid.
You see the roots quiver slightly. Oh, heard of you. Yeah, Druid.
Yep, that's me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, this is a little awkward, you see. I'm afraid that having me roots go as deep as they have might have changed me a bit, Archdruid.
Oh, it changed you in what way specifically, just to make sure we're on the same page?
Give me a persuasion check. Let's see if you can convince this tree to help you.
Nat 20.
You see, I appreciate like this is just it's all or nothing. I like this though. I like we're just we're playing the game on hard mode, you know?
It's either a complete win or a complete fail. That's how we do it.
That's it's hey, the Bible says you were lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, and I spit you out. You know, it's like just one or the other, win or lose. Yeah. You see up along the roots, you see a small beads of a liquid that are like coalescing, coming down the roots a little bit. And it takes you a second to realize the tree is crying.
Aww.
It says, oh, Agnes, you know how the spring moves through the forest and the salmon come along from time to time, right?
Of course.
And the bears, they catch the salmon and they bring them up on the shore and they eat them. And then they leave what's left over and it gets down into the ground and feeds the trees, right?
Such is the great circle of life.
I got me a taste for that meat, you see. But I'm a tree, I couldn't catch no salmon, and I couldn't talk to the bears. So I just reached down deeper and deeper and deeper till I found this place. And on occasion, people would walk by and I could just... And you see the roots do open and close. And he's like, I'm sorry, Agnes. Every time I got a taste, I just wanted more. I couldn't help it.
A carnivorous tree. Well, thank you for this education. I've never met a carnivorous tree before. And also thank you for not eating me. I appreciate it.
If I'm being honest, I was gonna, but now, not Druid, not you. And And Blaze leans over and she's like, can I burn this one down? It's an evil carnivorous tree.
Well, it's not eating me. And who am I to say that whichever humans walk by down here, shouldn't be eaten by this tree that wants to eat people? I don't know.
This is why I respect you, Agnes. Always looking at the big picture. OOC kids, that actually is true. The reason why some trees are so much bigger is the grizzly bears take the salmon and leave them, and the trees get extra nitrogen and grow way bigger.
Really?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that is
I had
real.
no idea.
Yeah, like in Alaska and stuff.
This tree's just like a Venus flytrap, what makes it more evil than any other plant eating other creatures, as far as Agnes is concerned.
Think about it. If you only got one cheeseburger in your entire life, would you not hearken unto additional cheeseburgers? That's all. That's what the tree's doing.
As a vegan, I don't need cheeseburgers, but I respect that other people might.
That's true. That is true. This is a role reversal. You, the mammal, are a vegan. The tree is carnivorous, and lo, we have brought balance to the forest. But with your natural 20, it just says to you, wait, but Agnes, this is a terrible place. Horrible people live down in there. They
what
don't
kind
mean. Oh, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
What kind of people?
Dead ones. And they worship death, and they want nothing more than to bring death to the surface. If they got you down there, it ain't for nothing good.
Agnes puts her hands on her hips. She's like, damn it, Blaze, it's those necromancers again. We just didn't smash them hard enough last time.
They can't come back to life if there's no bodies afterwards.
We gave them a chance. It's time. You're right. It's time to burn. Thank you, Great Tree, for this knowledge. Is there anything else that you can tell me about this place in terms of, how to get out?
With your natural 20, it is going to be as helpful as it's capable of being right now. It will say, well, it is a bit of a maze down there, but not too terrible. If you go to the east, there's a creature, horrible thing, some sort of fairy she once was. Flies through here on occasion, delighting in cruelty. If you go to the north, there's another one. She might have been a good spirit of some sort of the forest, a sylph elemental maybe, but now she's twisted and evil. And if you go to the west, there's a dragon, a great sleeping green thing, breathes poison and death all around him. They mostly keep to themselves. They don't really get along. The only thing they got in common is wanting to see the forest die, and its guardian along with it.
Well, we simply can't have that. Can we, Blaze?
Oh, and she glows a little more. She's like, I was so afraid it was going to be a boring day.
Thank you, Great Tree. Just a clarification on the ferry, the first one to the east. Did they have 6 wings and kind of bluish skin, likes to freeze things?
It sounds like her, yeah.
I think we should deal with her first. I did not like how impolite she was to us in the forest. Right, Blaze?
Absolutely. Although I did sting her quite well. I think that's why she fled.
You're right.
You see from up above, the roots kind of crackle a little bit. And you see out of the dirt, bits and pieces of former adventurers sort of rain out, like bones and gear and a map tube falls out also.
Oh.
Maybe some of these bits and bobs will be of some help to you, Agnes.
Well, the rotting bones, not so much, but that map, perhaps. Thank you. I pick it up.
As you pull it out, it does show that essentially what he said was true. There is a large room to the east, there is a large room to the north, and a large room to the west. There are many twisting dead-end tunnels, which we will just say basically for our purposes, you can make your way straight away through this place to find any of them that you are after. There are a couple of traps that have been marked on here, many of which you realize, based just sort of on some of the notations, they mark them because they found them. You found them the hard way.
Yeah.
But apparently they did not anticipate the gripping roots of this tree.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much. What should I call you, Great Tree?
Oh, well, you know, in all language, my name is... But for you, you can call me Nitro.
Nitro it is. Thank you for your help, Nitro.
Maybe if you make it back to the surface, you can come have a sit. I got some pretty long branches.
We'll see.
Good luck, Archdruid. And you see the roots sort of like curl up a little bit so you can safely walk under
Nice.
without it grabbing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you say you want to head towards this Fey creature, right?
Yeah.
As you walk along, you do see in the halls of this place, there's an odd skeleton that has been crushed by a rock, that fell from the sky. There is a place where, marked on the map itself, there are holes in the walls where there were arrows to shoot out, which you're able to evade. And as you make your way through, after a few minutes following the map, you do hear that familiar sound you heard before of the... And you hear, oh, goody, 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 goody. Maybe she's going to fall in a pit trap and break her leg. Maybe she's going to get hit by one of the darts. Maybe one of the others will get her. But either way, the Lord's going to be so happy with me. This is a great day, a great day. You just hear her talking seemingly to herself in this room up ahead.
Agnes will just join in the singing. Maybe she will be burned to a crisp. Maybe it's not such a great day for her. She starts singing that as she's doing it.
Blaze is like, yeah. I love this song. I love this song. And the singing stops. Like, no. There's no way that you made it here this quickly. No way.
Yes way.
Fine. If this is how you wish it to be, then I will be your undoing myself.
We shall see.
You have still yet to see her, so what would you like to do? You all basically, from the map that at the end of the room, at the end of this hallway is the room she's in, and your voices have sort of echoed back and forth. Based on the map, the room's about 50 feet across. It's difficult to tell how tall it goes from looking at it, but it's a fairly big space.
I'm just looking through my extensive list of spells.
You have a number of options.
Yeah, I have one I've never used before called Contagion, I believe. I'm trying to look for it. There it is. And let's see. Oh, it's Touch.
Yeah.
Darn. I wanted to cast something fun into the room that would make her unhappy. But it looks like I probably just need to see her.
Give me, since you are an archdruid, you're familiar with things of this nature. Give me
Oh, I got something. Okay. Sorry.
Give me a nature check.
I only have +2 to nature. Weird. 20.
I'm like, ironically enough, nature's not
Yeah.
really your jam. Survival is. You're like, I'll make it through. I don't care about the winds.
Yeah.
You have dealt with your fair share of undead. You know that something like contagion that is necrotic is probably not going to be terribly effective.
Right.
With a dirty 20, I will say that cold, lightning, and necrotic are not going to be terribly effective.
Right. If I kind of just like focus my druid senses, or just look around, do I notice that there might be some cool bugs in here in this dark space?
Yeah, tons of bugs.
Cool.
Tons of bugs. You're way underground.
Cool. I'm gonna assume there's lots of centipedes down here, right? All right. I'm gonna cast Giant Insect to transform 10 centipedes into giant centipedes, and then command them to attack that fairy.
You cast this spell, and these things start erupting around you, both in the hallway that you're in and also in the room. You see them come up and start snapping. And when they appear, Blaze very much goes, you.
I know.
Oh. You can roll for your giant centipedes. I'll say just roll twice. They'll be 5 and 5. Keep it simple.
All right. Is this like a roll to hit?
Hit, yeah. To see if they actually are effective in their attacks.
Do they have a modifier? I should look at their actual.
Just a giant centipede.
Yeah. Because I rolled a 2, but I don't know if I add anything to that attack with a giant centipede.
Let's see. We got a giant centipede is going to be +4 to hit.
Nice. All right. So the first one is 6, which is probably horrible.
I appreciate the giant centipede is still a small beast, so it's like centipede is like this long, you know?
Oh, man.
No, because I very much was thinking like, Dune sandworm centipede, but yeah.
Me too. And the next one gets a 15.
All right. It's like they're giants on the inside, though. You hear
there's a lot of them. Like, pretty gross.
They're snapping and biting. You hear, but it's just, how dare you? Give me your initiative.
9.
It is somewhat academic because it's the two of you, but one of you is going to do a thing first. Give me a con saving throw. That good, huh?
10.
You see she sort of like flitters down to where you can see her, even though these centipedes are all over her. And she says, oh, no. If not for you, I wouldn't be like this. Don't you see we're connected? And when she says that, you see a black cord comes out from her chest and hits your chest. And you feel this like connection of necrotic energy wrap around you as you are tethered to her. And she just says, fun. And she flies up a little bit, but you still feel the tether. She's like, come on, Agnes, come and get me.
Ew.
And you are very much connected to her.
I'm going to, for my action, let's see. I think Agnes just has like one of those reactions, like if there's a gross bug on you, she's like, ew, and she just goes like this and casts Dispel Magic to try to get it off her.
And Blaze very much like, no, stop. Here, let me see if Dispel Magic is going to break that. Let's see. Let me read Dispel Magic real quick.
Any spell of 3rd level or lower ends. For each spell of 4th level or higher, make an ability check using your spell casting ability. Mine is Wisdom, I think. The DC equals 10 plus the spell's level.
So here's what we'll do. Since this is a magical effect, and more specifically, it's a layer action. In fact, I will let you roll it. If you beat an 18, you will dispel the effect.
Oh no! Okay.
I believe in you.
Come
You
on,
got a high wisdom.
Chat, blow on my die.
There it is. Come on. 1. Will it to her, chat.
Nope, I got it 2.
You're like, maybe if I just pull it closer to me. Yeah.
It just gets on my hands because I'm going like this and it just gets all over.
Yeah. Yeah. Blaze is horrified also. She's like, oh, no, not like that. Oh, no, dispel it. Oh, it didn't dispel. What would you like Blaze to do? She does technically act after you.
Let's see. How far is the fairy from me now?
So you saw her just inside the door, but she flew up out of your vision. So you've got to come into the room if you want to see where she is. You can tell by the tether, she's sort of over and up.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have Blaze cast Fiery Teleportation and teleport me and Blaze 30 feet into the room. My goal is to get as far away from her as I can in the room, hoping that maybe the tether will break if it's too far. And then also, if she happens to be within 10 feet of me now, then she has to make a dex save against fire damage from the teleportation.
You teleport in and you see she's in the air looking at the doorway. And you can see like a sphere of like black energy in her hand. Basically, she's like waiting to drop on your face the moment that you came through. And she turns around. She goes, oh, tricky. That's okay. Make a wisdom save. This should be pretty good for you.
Nat 20.
Hey. Again, all or nothing. I appreciate that. I'm a fan of these dice. They're weighted appropriately. She turns and she looks at you and she flashes black eyes, and you feel for a second like this like wave of fear come over you, but your calm druid mind is resolute. But she just goes, run.
No, I don't think I will.
And she still stays flying there in the air. She's about 40 feet up.
I'm gonna say, okay, I'm bored of this. This is over now. Goodbye. And I'll cast Firebolt at her.
Is that one you need to roll to hit or one she needs to roll to save?
It is a cantrip, and she needs to make a range. I need to make a ranged spell attack.
Yep, you roll on her.
Oh, sorry.
Floor dice don't exist.
Oh man. I rolled a 6. What's my spell casting modifier? 4. So I rolled 10.
I will say.
Oh no, wait. Spell attack is plus 10? Right. Okay, so 16.
Okay, 16. Cool. I will say, when you teleported into the room, the tether didn't break, but it feels very taut.
Okay.
Like you think it may be possible to break if you get far enough away, but you're not far enough away yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens with the fireball. Yeah. Or just the firebolt.
Right past her.
Dang it. All right, then I'll use my movement to try to. I can't get any farther away from her in the room, though, right?
You can't, because it's a 50-foot room. You came in about 30 feet. She's in the air, so yeah, you could run further away. How much movement have you got?
I believe it's just 30, 35.
Yeah. As you like run, you do feel this thing like she's like That's no fun. We're supposed to be together, Agnes.
No, thank you.
And she...
I'm just not that into you.
Die! And shoots a disintegrate at you. So give me... Actually, she's not going to shoot a disintegrate at you.
You really need to get better at rejection.
She's going to shoot a disintegrate at you. So you need to make a dex save. She's like,
oh my gosh. I rolled a 2.
You're going to take it just square in the face, aren't you? Yeah.
That's a 5 total, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were like, you need to get better at rejection.
Jeez.
Nope. She's like, I came back from the dead for you, Agnes. You won't get rid of me so easily. And that is gonna do a lot of damage.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Here's how we're gonna do this. Okay. 84 points of damage.
What?
Yep.
Ow!
And it punches a hole clean through one of your shoulders when you turn around to like say something sad, and bam! And Blaze looks at you and she says, Agnes, I know I said you can't come back to life if there's no body, but I meant them, Agnes, not you.
Ow.
What are we going to do? And you see she's like, yay!
I mean, just try to distract her, and I tell Blaze to cast Flame Seed again, and just kind of try to hover around and like distract her from focusing on me.
So, okay, I got it. And Blaze does go after her and roll to see if you hit with your Flame Seed.
19.
That is enough to hit her. Yep.
And I actually had the modifier wrong before. It's 1d6 plus 6 damage, not plus 2. So great. Awesome.
Hey.
We have 11 points of fire damage.
And you see it does flame up around her, and she goes, I hate this fire spirit. I always hated fire spirits.
Also, I doubt she has any, but I have a feat that ignores resistance to fire.
That is useful. It so happens she doesn't, but that is useful because almost everything has resistance to fire. It's truly unfair.
Mm-hmm.
It is your turn, though, as well, because she hits you with the disintegrate, and you haven't done a thing yet.
I really haven't, and it's quite frustrating. I'm going to, let's see, is there anything else? This room is just stone, right? There's nothing else in it?
Nope. Literally, it's just a bare stone room. Well, what is it that you were looking for?
If there was any metal, like weapons on the walls or anything like that.
Hold on, let's see. A lot of adventurers have died here. I'll give you a certain percentage chance. Yeah, I gave you 30% and I rolled 15. So yeah, there's bits and bobs, old swords, bits of iron, bits of metal, or like iron armor, like plate armor, of people that came down here and died essentially. But it's randomly strewn about.
And she's not like touching any of it right now.
She is currently flying.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna I'm gonna shake it off, and I'm gonna try. She's mad, so she's gonna try one more time with Firebolt.
Okay. Roll it.
This may be my doom.
I believe in you.
Oh my gosh. 16.
Hang on a second. Wait. Let me check something. Oh, okay. Cool. No, I had an old version of your sheet before you would pick your spells, and then I was looking, and I was like, I'm like, something's missing on here.
Yeah.
I was like, I might have located the source of your quandary, but I was looking at the wrong sheet there. Okay. 16 is not enough. It flies right past her head, and she just goes like, I'll show you. And she reaches out and touches Blaze, who needs to make a con save.
Uh-oh.
Because Blaze is all over her right now.
This is not one.
She touches Blaze, who freezes in place right there in the middle of the air, just like paralyzes. And she looks down at you, and she starts to descend slowly. And she goes, Agnes, you don't have to die down here. Well, you do have to die down here, but you don't have to die down here right now with me. I can take you to meet the others. I don't know if you're going to want to meet the others because they are definitely going to want to kill you, but I don't know. Maybe you'll think of something between here and there, or we can keep fighting and I'll kill you right now. That's fine with me, really.
You're so annoying. And Agnes just slaps a cure wounds on herself.
She goes, oh, did I hurt you?
Yeah.
I'm not sorry.
Let's see. So I'm going to cast it at 4th level. So that's going to give me 4d8 plus 4.
Yep.
All right. 1, 2, 3 d8. Make
4 d8 plus 4.
Let's see. 15, 22 plus 4 is 26. Oh, I need one more of these. 26 plus 5 is 31 hit points back.
All right, 31 hit points back. Your centipedes are still all over her, by the way. Everyone's just
nice.
I hate these
doing
things.
Anything?
Oh yeah, no, they're biting her.
Good.
And she clearly seems like irritated by it. But she's like, you know what, Agnes? I think we just finished this.
Okay.
I should have killed you on the surface when I had the chance.
Yeah, you really should have.
Oh, it's different rays. That's it. Well, hold on a second. Your scorching rays. All right, so this is a little bit meta here. Well, which level were you casting your scorching ray at? You're doing it as a cantrip, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're a firebolt, rather. Okay. Yeah. I was looking at scorching ray. I was like, we got to roll for multiple rays, but we don't. She just looks at you and she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna stand here. I don't even think you can hit me with your stupid firebolt. And she like flares her wings out, holds her hands, and just stands there.
Nice. Okay. A taunt. Great.
Literally. She's like, come at me.
All right, great. So
I appreciate also that you've got plus 10 to hit with this.
I know. Isn't it?
It just keeps missing.
My dice are legendary. Everyone's like, dice are random. There's no such thing as like amount of luck. Sure, great. Watch me play D&D for a couple years and then tell me that, because
you've convinced me. Honestly, you've convinced me that it's like I got one of these like 1d2s. It's 50-50. Like I feel like that's what you're rolling over there. Like it's crit or miss.
And this happened even when I used Roll20 when I wasn't using physical dice. So anyway, but she is taunting me. I'm going to do something that is much more likely to hit. So I'm going to just cast Fireball, and that gives me I point at a point I choose within range, and I get an explosion of flame. She's in the 20. I'm going to just center it on her.
Yep, she's got a dex save. So what's the number she needs to beat for you?
18. Don't tell me she made it. I'm going to be so mad.
She got a 19.
I hate everything.
But with fireball, she still takes half damage.
Okay.
So, but she very much is like, I don't even think you can hit me. And you're like, how about fireball? It takes off into the air again, but the explosion still goes off and catches her in it as she flies upwards. So still roll. You can either roll the full thing and have it, or you can roll just half as many dice. It's whichever you prefer.
I'm gonna, let's see. What is it? It's 8d6. I'll roll 4d6.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2. Where are my d6s? There. All right. So that is 8, 13, 16 fire damage.
All right. And you see as she flies upwards, the flames catch her and start to eat into her clothing and like tattered rags. And you can see her purplish undead flesh underneath. And she just like looks at you for a moment and she says, that seems like an excellent idea. And she fireballs you.
No!
So, do you have any resistance or immunity to fire yourself?
I feel like probably, let me check. Also, I realized after I cast Fireball that my centipedes were on her.
Yeah.
And they would probably need to pass a dex save too.
I took that into account. Your centipedes are 100% lit up.
Okay. So this is good actually, though, because if any of them die, then I can use Flames of Life, and primal flames will spring from the body. And if I touch them, like if they fall off and they're on the ground and I touch them while they're doing that, then I get healing.
Oh, then yeah, I would say all 10 of them die, and you definitely would have a chance to recover all that. Yep.
Okay. Well, it's not my action right now, but that's good to know.
Yep.
It doesn't look like I have resistance to fire, which seems to me to be a very big...
You have resistance to cold, not fire, which is weird.
Yeah.
But here we are. Yep. But you do get a dex save.
Okay. Please. 18.
I believe that is enough. Let me just double check. We're gonna make it enough. No, we're gonna make it enough. We're gonna make it enough. Because the random number generator of fate has not been kind to you so far.
It has not.
For 10 points of fire damage.
I take 10?
Yes, you take 10.
Okay.
That is accounting for your save. It is 10. Which, as a fire druid, I think you're learning it is in fact better to give than to receive, honestly. And she is just laughing maniacally. She's like, you don't like it. You don't like it. Like, flying overhead.
So annoying.
You can save again for Blaze to see if she snaps out of her paralysis. I'll let you roll twice actually, because I think she should have had 2 shots at it by now.
And what kind of
con? It's a con save for her to get loose.
So I got a 15 or a nat 1.
She's still stuck.
Cool.
Angrily in the air though. It's like the fireball like waves up over her and she is fine. Like, in fact, she might feel better because the fire hits it. What's her? It is your turn as she's flying overhead taunting you.
So
you said you wanted to get the healing from the centipede. Sorry, I would say yes. All 10 of them are available.
Okay, so I'm gonna use Flames of Life on one of them. Fire spews from them. I assume I have to take my movement to get to them because I was far away from her.
Yeah, I'll say 1 movement would get there.
And then is touching a burning centipede, because Flames of Life is a reaction, not my action. But touching a burning centipede is an object interaction. Does that count as my action? Or can I do that in addition to an action?
If Flames of Life is a reaction, if the spell's a reaction, you could do it then. Like, it's all of it. So you could have done this on her turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me just read it real quick and just make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Seems like it's the right thing. Small large creature, 30% reaction when you creature see When a creature you can see, touch. Oh, okay. No, hang on. The reaction is doing it because you theoretically could heal someone else with it. So they sprang to life at the time. Now touching them would be a free action.
Okay. So I touch them. I get 2d10 plus 4 hit points, which is, I actually rolled well. I got 22 points back.
Perfect. That is rolling well.
And then
as you clutch its burning centipede body to your bosom, vowing revenge.
I shall avenge you.
Yeah, but you still can act. I will say because the reaction was the spell. The touching it is free. Now you can do a thing.
Is she flying or on the ground now?
She is currently flying.
Okay. Wish she would stop doing that.
Talking mad trash the entire time, just nothing but greasiness. Yeah,
she's the worst. It's time to turn into something that flies. So let's look at the list of things that I can fly as.
Go get the druid.
Let's see.
Never go wrong with the old claw bite.
Right. I mean, a giant eagle is on the table, or a giant vulture. That feels on brand for down here. Let's become a giant vulture.
The giant vulture is a pretty good form. That is true.
All right. Giant vulture. Let's get that step block. So yeah, I'm gonna, and that takes my action to wild shape, right?
Wild shape. Yep, it does. Unless you were Circle of the Moon. Otherwise it is. So you turn into this giant vulture, and she just looks at you like, ooh, am I supposed to be scared now that you're a giant vulture? And
I just clack my beak at her.
She is going to. That would be monstrous. Doing all these terrible things to you, but it's not me. It's her. She's terrible. Give me a con save.
4. I rolled a 2.
Wait, but even with the that's not enough. Even with the vulture stats, that's not enough.
The con for the vulture is 2 as well. It's plus 2.
It is. I'm not doing this, internet. The dice are fate.
No, let it be known. This has nothing to do with B. Dave. It has to do with my dice. Always.
Fate is doing this. She looks at you and she just says, I think we need to give you a little taste of what's coming for the forest and what we intend to do. And black tendrils reach out of her and descend on you and start weaving all over you as she hits you with a blight for 24 points of damage.
The vulture has 22. So the vulture is gone.
I appreciate you're like, rah, vulture, what? Vulture. And then you're just laying on the ground again there.
As quickly as it came, it has hence retreated. Long live the vulture.
I just killed a vulture in a game yesterday. This is like a weird callback. Yeah. And when you immediately turn back into Agnes, she just like laughs at you. She's like, and she just comes down and lands like, I thought you were supposed to be this grand archdruid, this scourge. I realized that the problem was me. You defeated us last time because I just wasn't strong enough to defeat you, but now I clearly am. And it is your turn.
This makes Agnes so mad, and she grimaces, and then you see that grimace is turning unnaturally evil looking, and she casts Primal Savagery, so her teeth and fingernails elongate and look sharp and disgusting and corrosive, and she makes a melee spell attack. And a melee spell attack still has the same.
Yeah, it's just roll a
bonus, right?
Yeah.
If I don't hit,
I was gonna say I quit D&D, but I don't. So
you know what? I'm gonna give you inspiration for appropriate use of druidic rage. So you can file that spare 20 somewhere.
Okay.
To use at a dramatically appropriate moment.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
She does not have a crazy AC.
All right. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna use my wood die. I'm going back to nature.
Yes.
It will not let me down.
It will not fail you. Yes. Hearken unto the forest to leap to your aid.
17.
Literally 17 is what you need to hit. So yes.
Thank you. Thank you, wood of the forest.
Thank you. You have to be the druid.
Yeah.
Anna, be the druid.
All right. So we need let's see, 4D. Wait, no. What is my primal savagery? Yeah, 4D10.
Yep.
Let's see. 13, 16, and 18 poison damage.
18. All right. You see, let me look something up here.
Or acid damage, sorry, not poison.
Yes, acid damage. Again, I was like, I know this well, and then I'm like, yeah, it's that kind of damage. No, it's this other kind of damage. Wait, no, yes, it's this other kind of damage. Your 4D10 was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You dig your claws into her, and she sort of like steps back as you see you've kind of like ripped a ragged hunk out of her, and she just sort of like looks down at it, and she just says, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. And
Agnes is like, I'm laughing.
She give me a dex save.
I need to stop using this die. That was another.
Just go back to the wood. No, it's like the wood told you.
This die is in shame land now.
Yeah, go send it to dice jail. Send it to dice jail. Yes.
Shame on you.
She stomps on the ground, and you feel gravity reverse, and you are pulled up off the floor, up into the middle of the room, just floating there. And she just looks at you, and she's like, holds her hands up, and you see ghosts start to appear, and she's like, go tell the others. And the two of them fly out of the room. And she looks at you and flies up towards you. And you can roll again. Let's see if Blaze is going to get loose. Again, shout out to whoever came up with Blaze as a name.
Blaze gets a nat 20.
Blaze finally is like, how dare you? And I will let Blaze act now that she broke out of her paralysis.
Okay.
What would you like her to do?
I think if she teleports me. Now let's see. Gravity is reversed, so that wouldn't make any difference.
Yep.
Right?
You would just come out unless you got out of the area where the gravity is reversed. You know, it's only it's only so far.
Can I tell where the radius is?
Give me a perception. We'll see if you can tell.
Ooh, 26.
You can see it is almost this whole entire room, but over near the door where you came in, because you can see rocks and bits and bobs of like metal and things that floated into the air, not over like basically near the entrance. She's almost filled up the whole place, but not quite.
And is she near the entrance? No, I'm in melee with her.
Yeah, she's flying near you. Like she like reverse gravitated you and is on the way up. Yeah.
And the ghosts were starting to leave. Have they gone through the door yet?
They're leaving, but they have not left. You theoretically could catch them.
Cool. Okay, great. I am going to transport like to the entrance of the room, or rather Blaze is going to fire teleport me. And she needs to make a dex throw, because presuming that she's still within 10 feet of me, she might take fire damage.
What does she need to beat?
Spell save DC is 18.
She does not make it. She got 17.
Haha! She takes a little tiny bit of fire damage. Let's figure out exactly how much.
It all adds up, though. It all adds up.
Where is my wildfire spirit? 1d6 plus 6.
Mm-hmm.
11 fire damage.
All right. She perfect is coming towards you, and you see the whoosh, and you all disappear and appear down by the entrance, in front of the ghost. And she's and it is your turn there, as you have now appeared between with the two ghosts coming your direction, and her in the sky looking burned and beaten up. Like, I mean, she is taking damage.
I'm going to cast. Oh, I thought Wall of Fire could create a wall, but it has to be on a wall. That won't work.
Really?
You create a wall of fire on a solid surface within range. Oh, on a solid surface, so like on the floor.
You can do that.
Okay. Would I know, as a fire aficionado, whether fire would hurt these ghosts?
You feel it's a pretty good idea. Yeah.
So I think it might. Okay, great. Then I'm going to cast a wall of fire in the doorway.
Okay. All right. Do you intend to have it basically be behind you where they can't get out, or are you going to back into the hallway and throw it up, trapping them inside?
How big is it? 60 feet long, 20 feet high. Actually,
1 foot thick, yeah.
Actually, I will just cast it because that would span almost the whole room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just cast it like, give me, 5 to 10 feet between the door and the wall, and I'm just hanging out there.
I got to tell you, I have never played that Wall of Fire had to be on an existing structure, so I'm just going to let you like put the wall where you want it,
Okay.
Because otherwise you couldn't block a door with it by definition. Like,
I
the
think
doorway's
that's the
open.
point.
Yeah. So
I read on a solid surface, so I thought it meant like this, but I think it means like this.
that
like
makes you can put it in
standing.
the air. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it can't just be like a freestanding wall.
Right.
I'm going to agree with you, because otherwise that's not a wall. That's like a fiery paint job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fire paint.
Fire paint. That's coming soon to the DM field. Fire paint.
Someone just like steps away from it, like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're like, that's fire paint, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wall of flame erupts, and then
In fact, I'm gonna try to do it like if they're going this way, I want to cast it like right underneath them, so it hits them like as they're moving toward it.
Right. And they both fail, so you can roll your 5d8.
Oh, dang, that's good. Okay.
Yup.
5d8. Here's 3 of them. So that's 14, 16 plus 7 is 23.
They both are coming, and they both just wink out of existence and burn and are destroyed.
Great.
And Blaze just looks at you and just says, "Good." And you see the undead horror just looks at you and says, "No, it's not good. It's terrible. It's the worst. You're the worst. I hate you, Agnes."
Oh, I'm so sad.
I appreciate this turned into Mean Girls and our druid and an evil lich. Hold on a second here. She's not gonna do that. Give me an. Ooh. Oh no. Dare I risk this? Dare I risk this, internet? The answer is, of course, yes. Give me an intelligence save.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
What's your ruling on cocked die? Reroll?
Is the side up going to be to your advantage?
Well, it was mostly a 15 on the die.
Hold on a second here. Let me just check something. Because since fate is working against you, I'm trying to give you every break possible here.
What save was I rolling? Dex?
Intelligence.
So that would have been intelligence. So that would have been a 23 if it was the face that was mostly up.
Then yes, I'm gonna give you that.
Okay.
Because you need it.
Thank you for your pity.
Yeah. She's about to drop feeble mind on you there. So she's like, "You're so stupid, Agnes," and you feel this like wave of pain rush through your mind, but you are able to hold on. And she just is still floating there above the burning floor, and she's like, "You think you're so special with you and your forest and your flame spirit and your arch druid. We are going to destroy all of it. All of it."
Well, you're going to try, but you're behind a giant wall of fire right now and your ghosts are dead. So I don't know.
You think you can stop me, don't you? You won't. You're going to find out. And she charges forward to try and fly through the wall of fire.
Nice.
Which, what does she need to beat to get through it? I think it's a dex save, I think.
Wall of fire. Let's see. It takes... Yeah, so she needs to make a dex save versus 18.
She does not make it. So roll your 5d8.
Right.
And she's pushing through, and you see the flames starting to burn her, and her glistening wings start to catch on fire.
Oh my gosh, there were 2 1s in that.
Mm.
So 10 plus 9, 19.
You see she pushes through, and the flames bite into her, and she erupts into flames, and her sickling flesh is burned and blackened, but she comes through stumbling and just stands right there in front of you and says, "See, you can't stop me, Agnes." But it is your turn as she stands there in front of you, burned but defiant.
And she's in melee again?
She is.
Well, Primal Savagery worked pretty well last time, so let's just try it again.
All right, roll it.
That's going to be a 20.
Dirty or natural?
Dirty.
That is enough to hit her, so roll it.
Great. And that will be just a check, 40-10. Okay.
Yep, all the diceages.
This really has turned into a Mean Girls fight. I'm just scratching it with my fingernails.
It's not Wednesday. That's why no one has to wear pink.
10, 11, 14, and 8 is 22.
22?
Yeah. Acid.
She had 20 hit points left.
Wow!
So you tell me how you defeat her when she stands there. "You cannot stop me, Agnes."
I think it's just the fingernails right across the face, just and her face goes, huh!
And as she collapses to the ground, Blaze just looks down at her and spits a little bit of fire.
I would say this brought me no pleasure, but that would be a lie. And she flicks the fire wall down and turns around and walks out of the room.
And that's actually a good place for us to take a little break. So we'll do a quick 9. So we'll come back at 5 minutes after. And we will get back to it. And again, if you have any questions for Anna Prosser, type them in chat, put a capital question in front of it. Even if you asked one earlier, it might have scrolled by in chat by now to tell you the truth. So feel free to ask it again, capital question, and we will be back shortly. And we are back with Miss Anna Prosser. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I am excelente. I apologize to all of you. This mic is kind of like center mass, so if you hear my tummy rumbling, just tell yourself that it's like a monster in the dungeon. That is like.
Yeah, I apologize. We started a couple minutes late because I was stuffing my face with a Cliff Bar because I could not wait.
Normally, I am a monster, and I would have been like, Jake, turn on the camera, turn it on, right when she's like, oh, mom, and I'm like, hey, so what's up about world peace? Right when you go for it, but no, this time, just like, no.
It happens sometimes. It would be fair.
Just, also you're a pro. You're like, I'm ready. Like you can't catch me there.
I've been more embarrassed on camera than that before. It's fine.
I apologize, and I apologize, chat. I didn't have time to look up the questions there, so maybe if you think of something now, you can still submit it with a capital question. Maybe our production overlords will get to see it. If not, that's just all on me, but that's all right, because we would spend the rest of the day talking about things, because you are fascinating and have had a fascinating life. Let me ask you this. If for you, again, having somewhat been there, kind of like from the earliest dawn of esports and into the transition of like D&D kind of going mainstream and streaming being a thing, what do you think is the most common misconception people have about streaming and being a content creator?
I think that people, especially people outside of the profession, think it's way easier than it is. And that applies to most internet creators, in that the amount of work that you have to do to sustain that business is astronomical. And the demands on your time and your health are extreme. And people don't realize that. But I think from my specific little vantage point, the like sub point to that is my work is primarily as a host, like an MC. And people often think that role specifically is extra easy because they see it as just like you stand up and you talk on a camera and that's all. And I could do that. It's very easy. And it's kind of a sucky position to be in for me to be like, actually, it's not that easy. And my skill's really important and I work really hard on it. But it's the truth. I mean, I went to school for it. I trained for it. And speaking on camera is something that I've like invested a lot of resources in. So that is a little bit rough when someone thinks that anyone could do my job, or when I think even companies especially will hire someone and be like, oh, anyone can do this. And so that my job being to convince them that they want to hire someone like me is rough. And like I said, that's part of a bigger overarching issue of like new media creators. And then I think entertainers in general, people are always like, oh, I want to be a famous actor. And that looks easy and fun. And don't think about what the work is and what the job is and what the sacrifices are. And not that they're more than other jobs, just that you, with anything you take on, any decision, any career, anything, you just are choosing which problems you want. So, just think, which problems are you most able to live with, I guess, is the question. And not thinking that certain jobs don't have any problems,
Yeah, I think it is a common misconception when people see you doing something fun, that it's a fun job, but it's still a job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 7 days a week, I'm doing something. I run 6 to 10 games for Patreon. Then I play in 2 streams. I'm running 1 stream, soon to be 3 more, with playing in 2 more coming up, and it is a grind. And I always tell people, though, there is only one thing that all human beings on Earth are exactly equal in, and that is time. We all have 168 hours in a week, So if you manage that resource well, there is time to get things done. And maybe not every week, but every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever, you can find the time. The problem is you also have to find times for things like sleep and, maybe the occasional meal, taking the phone off the hook and just having some quiet time, or spending time with friends, even digitally, now in the midst of the apocalypse.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And spending time with family, building social, mental, emotional, spiritual health, all of those things are important to a human as well.
Absolutely. Although, again, as a proud Sith American, I do draw a lot of power from, anger and hatred. So it is a renewable resource.
Speaking of Star Wars and the Sith.
Speaking of Star Wars, yeah, no, we were talking on the break about Star Wars. We won't detour too. Again, I just said that'll have to be the next thing.
Yes.
Is a deep dive into Star Wars, because I do love it dearly. That is also my favorite fandom, and I have a lot of complex feelings about recent years. I will say, just one little slight thing. Did you have you seen the last season of the Clone Wars?
I haven't yet. That's where my Star Wars education is the most lacking, is in those series.
Clone Wars was an achievement. It really was. It was some really visually spectacular storytelling. And it started off a little rough. When the movie first came out and they introduced the character of Ahsoka Tano, like, I hated it. It was the first Star Wars thing I ever truly hated, was the Clone Wars movie. Oh yeah. But to see where it started versus where it finished, it is such an astonishing and compelling arc that even now, when I go back and watch the movie that I once hated, it's like, oh, I see where they were going. Like, I see, the seeds of what would be this other thing.
Right.
And they made some course corrections. There's some annoying bits of it that they just dropped. Because the premise of the movie is, this is not a spoiler, it's just what the movie's about, is Anakin gets his own Padawan, because they're like, well, this will teach him some responsibility. Like, he's this like reckless guy. It's like, we'll make him responsible for someone else and he'll understand. And his Padawan is Ahsoka Tano, which even over the course of the evolution, they physically drew her growing up, which is insane in its own right. And in the first movie, she's him, but worse. That's the point. She's a worse him. And she called him Sky Guy. And it was just like, bitch, what? And that, I think they got the resounding from the fandom, and they left that part on the cutting room floor and kept the other bits of it. And it just the series is breathtaking. It's as good as any television series, period, not just Star Wars. It's as good as any sci-fi TV show ever.
I like have absorbed the stories from it, but have yet to finish watching it. So I definitely need to go back and do so. We reference stuff like that all the time. Here we go. Here's my shameless plug. On Thursdays, I play a Star Wars role-playing game called Echoes of Eternity, where I play a Jedi or aspiring Jedi. And so we run into those kind of storylines all the time. But fun.
No, it's because also I realized that I'm sure I'm the first person that has ever said this to you. I'm about to hit you with a news wave that has never occurred to anyone before now.
Hot off the press.
Mara Jade cosplay.
Oh yeah, I know. And every time I hear it, it makes me filled with so much joy. So never stop saying it.
It's, as I was about to say, I'm sure no one anywhere ever. It's like when people tell me you should play basketball. Word? Really?
Well, I'm not tired of hearing it, so.
Yes.
That does activate the desire in me to talk about the extended universe and how upset I am at certain books being retroactively excluded from it. But again, another stream, another time.
Another stream, another time. But I know I got to say just one thing. They are gently repurposing some of it, like Thrawn finding a new life, like his continuity being altered, but the character surviving, at least, was. So maybe, well, I was about to say, I feel like Mara's probably not going to be a thing based on what we know about Luke now, but they still might find a way, to put her in there somewhere. I will just, I'm going to say this and I apologize, because again, I'm a super Star Wars nerd. I'm going to say this one last thing, and then I'm going to do everything I can to let it go. I think the thing that disappoints me most about the new trilogy is they really could have done the extended universe. They could have done the twins. They could have done Jason and Jaina.
I know.
They could have done all of that, and it would have been fine. It just would have been fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, even the whole... Okay. Yeah, another stream, another time.
No, but we did.
Yes, absolutely.
It's but to end on a happy note, Thrawn is great in Rebels. Even though they like where he was and his place in the story is different, the essence of the character is perfect. Thrawn is perfect in Rebels. So much so that the voice actor that does his voice is Mads Mikkelsen's brother. I forget his name, but he's got that still very similar, lightly accented, kind of gravelly voice. And every time he comes on screen, there's legit these like dramatic like organs, like Dracula's here, like and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
okay, yes. I won't say all is forgiven, but at least partially mended. Mended.
Right.
And speaking of partially mended, let us dive back into Agnes's adventure here, stuck anomalously somewhere underground, standing over the smoking ruin of this undead fey creature that you have recently defeated.
And I think I tried to have like a dramatic like spin and walk out, but then mid doing that, Agnes remembered that she could flames of life. So she's like, oh wait, hold on. Flames of life. The fairy monster creature that I just killed so that I can have 2d10 plus 4 hit points back.
You have recycled her. You know what? I will give you that you're able to do that to her. Another of the centipedes. You can even take a long rest. You can get some hit points back because I don't want you to walk in half dead. Short rest. Sorry. But you can
I was like, okay.
It's true. Yeah, you're like, I'm just gonna fight you guys tomorrow. You know? Yeah. Take a little siesta.
Yep. All right. So let's see. I get 9 plus 4 is 13 back from that.
Mm-hmm.
Heal. And then let's see, what are my hit die? Getting used to the character.
8s, I believe. I think druids are D8.
All right.
Let me double check in case I'm saying wrong. So that's weird. All of the tabs that I had open for this, all closed. I'm like, wait, what?
Uh-oh. Where is that on? I know that on D&D Beyond there's like a hit die counter, but I
if you hit the short rest button up near the top.
There we go.
It is there.
There it is.
Weird. Like all of my tabs for you and these monsters and everything were just like, you didn't need to see. Oh, no, you know what it is? It's super still open. It's just where I'm talking to you. So I keep minimizing talking to you. I'm like, where are they all? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a professional, everyone.
All right. Let's see. I'm getting there.
No problem. It's a lot.
Yeah, I lost a lot of hit points, so.
You know, she dropped that disintegrate on you, and that was rough. So.
Mm-hmm.
As disintegrate is meant to do, quite frankly.
Yep.
I think the only thing worse than disintegrate's power word kill, where they're like, guess what? Die.
That is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am.
Especially because I've played more than one level 20 character that didn't have many more than 100 hit points.
Okay. I'm back at full. Yeah.
Pretty good? Good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Blaze just looks at you and she's like, you look much better now. I was a little worried for you for a moment there.
Just barely singed, as we say.
I'm sorry I couldn't help. I don't know what she did to me. It just...
Did it feel cold?
It did, which is terrible. Is that what cold feels like?
It's awful, isn't it?
Oh, the worst. Again, and I don't mean to bring this up again, if we just went to the plane of fire, we'd never experience cold ever again. Literally never.
And then who would take care of the forest?
Okay, well, maybe if we destroy these necromancers and then the forest can take care of itself.
We'll see.
Fine. Where to? Do you want to go after the once and future fallen air spirit or the horrific green dragon? This seems like a terrible series of options. We could just burrow up past that well-meaning carnivorous tree and maybe just go.
My impulse is to deal with the spirit first because the dragon seems like the larger threat, but then I'd be even more out of spells when we deal with the dragon. So maybe it's best to just rip off the bandage, as it were.
You could always try diplomacy. I mean,
ask them kindly not to,
necromance the forest.
I don't know. I mean, I personally, I always want to burn things first and ask questions later, but maybe in this particular context, she says, motioning to your newly healed injuries. I will support you in whatever you want. We've been through worse. Not that I can think of any time that it were worse, but we must have been through worse somewhere along the way.
You're right. We should try diplomacy. Maybe this green dragon is reasonable
and can be bargained with.
That is a sentence I have never heard said out loud, but yes, okay. We'll try it. We'll talk to the dragon.
All right, now remember, respect, deference. Dragons like that.
I know, very difficult. If you can't handle it, you can dissipate. I can summon you back.
I can't let you go talk to some green dragon alone. Okay, right. I will do my best not to cause any incidents.
That's all I can ask.
But just tug on your ear 3 times if you want me to set him on fire.
Fair. Will do.
And then presumably you head in the direction where the dragon is supposed to be?
Yes.
You make your way through this dank, dark place and give me let me look at your skills. Let's see what you're good at. History. I'm like, I need to give you every advantage.
I'm good at perception, animal handling, and history. Those are the...
But I feel like that's not too far away from your real life skill set, Like you might have more ranks in performance, but otherwise I feel like maybe those are hitting the thing.
All right, so we got 27. Wait, 25.
I did the math wrong.
It's it's like we're here for violence, not math. As you are making your way through this dark place and sort of rub your fingers along the stone and think about it, as an elf, you already have a long time horizon. And as an arch druid, there's a real chance that you will never get old and die now. You may, of course, always be slain in the commission of your duties as defender of the forest, but you're used to a longer time horizon. And as you're looking at these ruins down here, this place is old. The forest has been there for many centuries as your family has watched over it, but the forest has not always been there. There was a time of something else. This looks like it may have been the Undercity area, or perhaps the dungeon of a large castle, maybe. Many centuries ago, so much so that no one ever even told you it was here.
This knowledge, I guess, then would make me feel somewhat like intimidated, because if I'm used to being like the oldest thing around and I didn't know this thing was here, then that definitely puts an extra trepidation in my approach of the dragon.
And as you make your way through, you do arrive at the area that where it should be. And as you approach, you do hear, just sort of off in the distance, just random...
Oh, it's a sleeping dragon. Never wake a sleeping dragon. Then again, what if we kept it sleeping? Blaze, what should we do with the sleeping dragon? I had thought to reason with it, but we have the element of surprise.
Maybe we can somehow try and lure it into a negative position, and then we'll reason with it from a position of strength. Because now, if you wake it and it is angry, death. But also, if we try something tricky, it might wake up mad. Give me, I know we've established that nature was not necessarily your jam. Let's see, give me history again.
26.
Green dragons are not the strongest of worms. I mean, they're still fearsome opponents, of course. They are very selfish, but not unreasonable. Like the rules and law and tradition and things are things they appreciate and respect. They're not really known for just wanting to cause chaos for chaos' sake.
Right. So theoretically, if I can offer this dragon something it wants more than killing my forest, then that will work.
Theoretically, you would think.
The question is, what would this dragon want more than killing my forest?
That is the question.
Well, I think it's best to be up front, Blaze, but we should take some precautions. I think you should hide for the time being.
Oh, I was going to say you could write like a help letter and I would just leave and take it to someone that is like, not, we're overstaying. Oh, okay, right. Got it. You would like me to hide? Got it. Okay.
And then, I just am afraid that any spell I would cast would be futile against a dragon. But maybe?
She just stops and you see her face gets very serious. You're used to Blaze being, she's a lot like a cat. She's alternatively lazy and mischievous, usually, but she looks dead serious for a second. And she just says, Agnes, I have seen you work miracles, especially in defense of that forest. This is just one more hill we have to climb.
You're right. We can do this.
A scaly, poisonous, vicious hill you have to climb.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just getting a couple spells ready, and then maybe the dragon will be reasonable. Let's just let's try to gently wake it, and I'll just kind of like walk in the room and clear my throat with like a deferent bow.
She waits in the hall as you requested. You see she kind of like tries to dim her light a little bit to make it not completely obvious. And you see this huge green face. One yellow eye opens and rotates towards you.
Pray excuse the interruption. I am Agnes Crownsilver, Archdruid of these woods, and have been brought here against my will, but am very pleased to make your acquaintance.
I know you, wizard of the forest.
No, Archdruid, but yes, of the forest, yes. Have we met before?
Archdruid, then. You don't remember me. I've slept too long.
Well, I'm very happy to offer my services as an alarm clock.
I'm called Amatar.
Amatar. I bow again. And
What is your home? Is it this forest?
Yes, I came here when the forest was young, and so was I. Now it is old, and so am I.
Well, you look great for the age of the forest. Just saying. And I am curious, as I have come to learn that some in these tunnels wish ill of my beloved forest. I must ask, do you feel the same, or would you join me in protecting it?
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh, no. Oh, 17 still. My
Oh
persuasion
yeah,
is
no,
good.
17. So I thought you were like 1. You're like, so am I killing you or am I killing you? You know? You're like, so is we finished or is we done?
Yeah.
You see, it turns and looks at you for a second, and it starts to change, and it just stands up, and it looks like a grandfatherly old elf.
Cool.
He's slightly stooped a little bit. His skin is worn with the sun and wrinkled, and like hunched just slightly. I don't necessarily wish to see the forest destroyed. I just wish to reclaim my rightful place in it. In these necromancers, and if I assisted them, they would deliver me from this place, and the forest could begin again, new and strong. And you hear Blaze in your mind. See, wait, no, we can work with this. He wants to destroy the forest. I want to destroy the forest, and we can have a new forest. sorry.
You, to make sure I understand, you wish to leave this place, and
Yeah.
you wish to reclaim your place in the forest. What place is that?
I just wish to feel the sun on my scales and to swim in the water again, the crystal clear waterfall coming off the mountain, and just to be able to lay out and breathe in the day. And I and to be able to defend my home, of course. I don't mean to make it seem like I'm some sort of pacifist. I have consumed my fair share of brigands, but
Haven't we all?
I've heard the stories of you, Crown Silver. Many an adventurer has stalked these halls singing your praises. Unfortunately, they tended to find a dead end in one or more of these cells.
Well, if all you wish is to rejoin life in the forest and be freed from this place, I would be happy to assist you.
You wish to assist me?
Well, are these necromancers holding you prisoner somehow? What prevents you from leaving this place?
He points up at the ceiling, and you can see huge cracks and then where like something has like hit it and smashed it in a couple of places where the odd stone is broken through. And he's like, this place has no doors. I've tried to smash my way out, but it didn't help. I've walked these halls in this form. It seems like magic is the only way in or out. And although my power is great, that is not a power I possess.
Hmm.
And they said if I would assist them, they would deliver me hints.
Well, I've killed one of them. And there's one left that I know of. And if that one has the power to bring both of us from here, perhaps you and I could adopt
a more intimidating posture and convince them to do so.
Ooh, which one did you kill?
The icy blue fairy one.
You killed Aurelia. Oh, she was a dirty piece of work, she was.
I didn't like her very much, no.
Oh, well, that only leaves the Lord. He is a terrifying thing, but perhaps by our powers combined, we could sway him, yes.
And to be clear, I have your word that you mean our forest no harm once you are within it.
Give me insight.
20, dirty.
He's not lying, but you do know he's an apex predator.
Right.
He's like, no, it's gonna be great.
I mean, I think that Agnes's view of like the circle of life is very, I mean, she's so ancient in this world that I think to her it's like, that's fine. I mean, be an apex predator, like you'll kill some other creatures, but you know, I step on ants. You know, that kind of thing.
Dragons gotta eat, yo.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, she's satisfied enough with that. She's like, what do you know about the Lord?
He was once a great spirit, the air or sun or some sort of celestial thing, and he just became twisted and broken and just consumed with anger and hate. I don't know what caused him to turn, but I believe he is lost.
Well, if he wishes our forest harm, then he is truly lost, and we shall purge him by fire.
He extends a hand out to you. He says, I'm sorry for what I've done, Agnes Crown Silver. I'm sorry for helping these creatures, but I didn't see another way out. Perhaps now, together, we might find a way.
Absolutely. It is all forgiven. We all must learn from our mistakes.
You see, like, he, like, steps back almost where, like, the words have, like, physically hit him for a second. And he just says, oh, forgiven. Oh, thank you. Yes. Today might be the day that we can escape.
Let's make this right.
And you hear Blaze in your mind again. So does this mean I'm not burning him? Because I can. He's like an elf right now, right? So let's just be...
I'd like to introduce you to Blaze. Blaze, come.
She like
Blaze will not burn you, even though she may appear to. She will not.
He's a dragon that doesn't even breathe fire. How do we know that we can trust him? He's like a poison dragon. Yes. And she like this dramatic low bow. And he's like, oh, well met, fire spirit. I have great respect for your kind. I realize that, yes, I do not breathe fire, but it is because I feel such a kinship with it. I did not think it should be used as a weapon. And when he says that, she looks at you like...
We also feel kinship with fire, and in that kinship, we find motivation to join together in effort to quell evil.
Yes, we defend the forest. She defends the forest, and I serve her, which means I defend the forest. Yes, sir. Your dragonness.
Well, what better time than now to defend the forest from the Lord?
Yeah, yes. We have the map. Yes, don't we have the map?
Mm-hmm.
Or we could
I unfurl it.
And he
I also want to check it for like ways out. If the map shows a way out.
It does not.
Okay.
But when you're looking at the map, he's like, oh, that is quite incomplete. I guess those adventurers met their untimely demise before they finished charting all the paths here. And he goes over to one of the walls and pushes on it, and it slides open with a passageway. And he's like, this will take us straight to the Lord's study. We might be able to catch him unawares.
It's my favorite way to catch someone like him.
So then you head in.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk, you come into a room where it opens up on the other side, and it looks like a lavish lodge. Like it would have been a chateau in another life. It is a beautiful wood paneling, tapestries hang on the walls, ornate furniture, and there is a desk where you see a creature sitting at it writing, which is terrible. It looks like it's got almost a row of horns that almost form like a crown on its head, and grayish black wings that are pockmarked and dinged with holes. And it is wearing frayed plate armor that comes all the way down to on its hands that end in sharpened claws, and a blue robe that just sort of tatters and flows, blowing almost in an unseen wind, which again, through the wonder of technology, I will send you a picture of exactly what it looks like.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
And it sits there facing you like it is writing something, but it hasn't said anything or looked up yet. And you see the dragon, Amatar, sort of motions toward, he's like, that's him. That's the Lord.
Is that armor that it's wearing metal?
Appears to be.
Great. I'm going to catch him by surprise by cooking him inside his own armor. Would you like to cast a spell at the same time or attack in any way in a coordinated attack?
He stops and he thinks for a second, and he's like, oh, it's been so long since I ever even considered possibly attacking the master. I think I have something that will work, yes.
All right. Are you ready? Oh, and Blaze, are you ready with a flame seed?
She just goes, finally. Yes, 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 yes.
Great. On the count of 3.
1, 2,
3.
And you see a black, tendrily negative energy come flying out of the dragon in the direction of the Lord. And it crashes into him, and he doesn't blink. What do you do?
I cast Heat Metal at 7th level, which will cause the armor to grow red hot and cause the wearer to take 7d8. I think fire damage? Yeah, fire damage.
I believe so, yeah.
And if the creature is holding or wearing the object and takes the damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks at the start of the next turn, which I assume it can't drop the armor, at least not easily.
It cannot. And you can use your bonus action to cause that damage every turn. So
yes.
You are literally going to light him up. However, your bonus action is how you command Blaze. So she is only going to be hiding as long as you're burning him, but you're going to be burning him a lot more than she would. You see, when you do this, Blaze very much like runs in and gets in his face, like, "Oh, look at that! I've got you. You're on fire." And he stands up and goes, and now we can have initiative because you guys ambushed him.
Do I do the damage now or when
Oh yeah,
we get
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, you 78 now.
Yeah.
And then 78 every round.
14.
Which is significant.
17, 24, 32 plus 2 is 34 fire damage.
All right. Keep those dice safe because you're going to get to do it to him every round.
Yay!
32, you say?
Yeah.
All right.
I like that spell.
No, heat metal's dope. Especially when they've got plate armor. You're like,
yeah,
be a paladin. Yeah. You see, he does like, and roll your initiative, by the way.
Yeah, the wood dice really are working for me. I got 22 on initiative that time.
The druid is supposed to roll the wooden dice. That's it.
I guess so.
So you and the dragon will act before him. So go ahead and what would you like? And you can inflict that damage again right now as your bonus action, and you also can do something else.
It's a concentration spell, so I can't do another spell.
Oh, you could do a cantrip. You just can't do another concentration spell.
Right.
Then I'll use a firebolt cantrip. Why not? Just
it's got to work this time.
Pew, pew.
Yep.
And a ranged spell attack will yield me a dirty 20. We're on fire.
Literally on fire. Yep. That is enough to hit him. So he.
So that's gonna be 7, 8, and 10 is 18 fire damage from the firebolt.
All right.
And then my bonus action from the heat metal.
Yep.
Is gonna be 6, 10, 26, 31 plus 1, 32 again.
All right, another 32. You see, like, he is definitely burning, like actively going up in flames.
That's a whole lot of fire real quick.
That is a whole lot of fire real quick. And you see Amatar steps inside and immediately returns to his full dragon form and goes for the obligatory claw bite. Landing all three of those. So he like splintering and shattering this like beautiful antique furniture, crushing it under his fearsome attacks here. So let me get these. Mine is, I really am keeping track of the damage he's doing. Okay.
I also never rolled damage for that first flame seed that Blaze did before.
Oh yes, roll it.
Initiative.
Absolutely, roll it.
9 fire.
-9. All right, hang on. Let me just check something right here. Oh. No. You see the master steps back and just goes, and greenish black poison fills the room. Give me a con save.
Uh-oh. Con save will be 21.
That is enough. Let's see. All right. The poison gets you for 18 points of damage, but you are not poisoned.
Thank you.
And it is your turn again. You have laid a significant beating on this thing very quickly because he had a not insignificant amount of hit points, but that all adds up quick.
I'm just like dual wielding fire because I like with this hand I'm heating the metal, with this hand I'm throwing fireballs. So I'm just gonna do the same thing again. Spell
That is
attack for the firebolt.
a lot
Uh-oh.
of damage that you've done.
15.
That would not be enough to hit him, but remember you do have your inspiration that I don't know if you ever used it.
You know what? What a time to use it right now.
If not now, when?
Much better. 25.
That is enough to hit him.
Great.
You're like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. That will be. Where's all my d10s there? Okay. 9, 16, 21 plus 6, 27 from that.
All right. And then roll your heat metal.
15, 19, 22, 25, 30, 31 this time, not 32, 31.
And you see he just goes up in flames and is like, oh, pathetic creatures, you will never escape me. I will have my and turns into ashes.
You'll have your what? I didn't. Blaze, did you hear? Did you hear that? I didn't hear what we were gonna. No,
we were supposed to. I just. She picks up some of the ashes. And she's like, hello. No.
I cast what's the thing? Flame. What's it called? Dang it! Flames of life on the ash, and it like turns into little embers. And I just like wave around in it and heal my hit points.
Legit, he had 199 hit points and he went to -13 in 2 rounds. So
hell yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
That was a significant beating you laid on him because he had quite a few tricks up his sleeve, and I did not. And as you're standing there, sort of like playing with his ashes, and Blaze spits on him too, you see Amateur, even in his dragon form, just kind of like looks down at you, sort of stunned, like, you are an archdruid. I promise to serve you in whatever capacity you need for the forest.
Thank you. That will be of great help. Let's get you out of here. Even though I don't have any idea how. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it's better to say, and nobody asked this guy, although mysteriously, in the corner of the room, there is a teleportation circle that you find in between your supreme ancient intellect are able to reconnect to a strange place in the forest that you knew that was a patch of grassland that the trees never grew and you never quite knew when or why. Apparently, it's some time long past, castle stood here. It's corruption seeping into the ground and never quite letting the forest recover. But maybe now, hopefully, you have restored it to its rightful place.
Aw.
And Amateur looks at you and he looks around and he's like, I think this clearing would be wonderful if you don't mind. I can keep an eye on things. Those pesky undead tend to come back from time to time.
Isn't that the truth? Please, make this clearing your home with my blessing.
And he sort of like lays down and just curls up, and you see he extends his wings, soaking up as much of the sun that he can.
Aw.
And Blaze stands there next to you, and she's like, but when he falls asleep, we can... Right?
No, Blaze. Go burn a pine cone. Blow off some steam.
Yes, I'm going to find that raccoon. And that is a good place for us to stop.
What a good callback for the ending. Nice.
Act 1 callbacks.
Yeah.
Act 1 callback. Yeah, bring the narrative symmetry. Anna, thank you so very much. Where can people find you?
You can find me on social media anywhere at Anna Prosser, my full name, ANNAPROSSER, and also on Twitch, where I stream. I've been taking a little bit of a break, but I should be back soon, so I hope you'll come hang out with me on my own stream. And like I said, I also have a recurring weekly show on Thursdays where I play Star Wars roleplay, and that's streamed on my channel as well, so stop by. And thank you so much. This was so much fun. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm glad. I'm glad we were able to make it. I know you were a very busy and important woman, so we it took some time to schedule it, but here we go. We made it, right?
Yeah, I appreciate the patience. Thank you.
Yeah, well worth it. And thank you all for tuning in. Again, I'm B-Day Walters, 7 days a week. I'm somewhere. I'm crowdfunding for a documentary right now. It is all at the top of my Twitter at B-Day Walters. You find me. I'm going to be on another stream here in about a half hour. I'm literally always somewhere doing something. But until next time, we will be back next week with our guest, Todd Kenrick, who may or may not be playing Averin. I never know. I just have the default is assume Averin and be pleasantly surprised otherwise. So, but I actually hope he does, because then it will be I putting Averin through the ringer for once. But thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.